So after months of leaks and rumours and little bits of teasing here and there as well, Motorola's Edge and Edge Plus flagship phones have finally officially been unveiled. This is the first super premium tiered Motorola smartphone since the Moto Z4, which was launched in summer 2019. And of course it'll be the first flagship from Motorola in quite some while to not support the Moto Mods modular accessories. But for any Motorola fans here in Blighty who are hoping to get their hands on the new Moto Edge Plus, you might want to sit down and get a stiff drink ready. Unfortunately, there are no current plans to bring that device to the UK. You're going to have to find some sort of expensive import instead. But the standard Motorola Edge will be coming to the UK for the princely sum of £550. It'll be available via the O2 network and also via retailers such as Amazon, John Lewis and Argos. So here's a quick run through all of the main specs and features of the Moto Edge and the Moto Edge Plus in case you're thinking of a purchase. And for more on the latest greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now the whole deal of the Motorola Edge smartphone is that it brings 5G connectivity and quite premium specs to that sort of £500 price point, and it sounds very familiar indeed to anyone who's sat through the Nokia 8.3 5G launch, because the specs and the features in general are very similar. The design certainly looks very slick. You get a 6.7-inch device, so it's certainly a bit of a beast. It's got a lovely glass finish available in either solar black, which is basically just black, or a sultry dark midnight magenta as well. Flip the Motorola Edge over and that 6.7-inch endless edge display curves neatly around both sides of the phone. It's very modern style, and it's of course becoming increasingly popular. Like most mid-range to premium devices, you've got HDR10 Plus support, so nice strong contrast and natural looking colours for supported content from the likes of Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, and it also tops off at a 90Hz refresh rate as well for a silky smooth everyday experience. You can actually dive into those display settings and swap between 60 and 90Hz as well. And yes, there is a dinky little pinhole cut out in that top left corner for the 25 megapixel selfie snapper, but it seems just as dinky as that found on the likes of the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Huawei P40 Pro. And you'll also find an in-display fingerprint sensor built into that mighty panel as well. And further good news for media lovers, because you do get a dual stereo speaker setup here on the Motorola Edge as well. Not just that, but this is one of the few smartphones above that sort of budget level price point where you actually get a headphone jack. Huzzah! Now Motorola is of course known alongside Nokia for putting a lovely stock version of Android on all of its smartphones, and the new Motorola Edge and Edge Plus are no different. You get a lovely version of Android 10, nice and clean, no clunky overlay or anything like that. Motorola's only tinkering has been to add a couple of bonus apps on there to give you a little bit more functionality. So for instance, you can expect the Moto Experiences app, which will add a nice bit of gesture support that we all know and love, including that gorgeous one-handed mode. Definitely handy for a 6.7-inch beast like this. And you'll also find on there the fresh new Game Time app, which I already tried out on the Moto G8 Power. This can basically help to block notifications, lock the brightness level, and deactivate those Moto gestures so they're not accidentally activated while you're fragging some fool in the face. And meanwhile, the Moto Edge Assistant is a fresh new feature which sounds like it mimics Samsung's Edge panels found on its latest flagships as well, so hopefully that'll make use of that spangly curved screen just to add some extra shortcuts and other bonus functionality. Now powering the Motorola Edge is Qualcomm's Snapdragon 765 chipset backed by 6 gigs of DDR4 RAM. Now I already had the chance to test out that Snapdragon 765 platform at Qualcomm's massive launch in a prototype device, and yeah, it doesn't quite pack the same grunt as the 865 flagship chipset, but let me tell you, it'll be absolutely fine for all of your gaming needs. Still packs some very impressive smarts indeed. And of course the 765 is also fully 5G ready, as it actually has a built-in modem, unlike the 865 we have to slap one on the side. So you've got full sub 6 GHz 5G support right here on the Motorola Edge. Rounding off the specs, you've got a 4500 mAh battery, again like that Nokia 8.3 5G, with 18-watt turbo power wired charging support. There's no wireless charging unfortunately, and you also get 128 gigs of storage with micro SD expandability. As for the optics, well, Motorola has slapped a triple lens camera setup on the back of the Motorola Edge. You have a 64 megapixel primary snapper, and that's backed by an 8 megapixel telephoto lens and a 16 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, which also doubles as a macro snapper. And you can expect a veritable bevy of camera features packed on there as well. So for instance, you'll have a full pro manual mode where you can control the likes of the ISO levels, the white balance and such forth, while shooting in RAW format for editing on the go. It's got a whole ton of extra bonus modes on top of that. You got video capture at up to 4K resolution at 30 or 60 frames per second. And you've also got Motorola's AI smarts on there as well. So for instance, it can help to straighten up any wonky shots, just crop in a little bit, make them look that little bit smarter. So that right there in a nutshell is the new Motorola Edge, which is the only one of the new pair set to actually come to the UK for 550 quid imminently. Now at the same time, we did also see Motorola launch its super ultra premium Edge Plus model as well, with massively upgraded specs to take on the likes of the S20 Plus, the OnePlus 8 Pro and so on. Although unfortunately so far the European launch only extends as far as Italy, the Nordics and Serbia. On the Edge Plus, you get that same 6.7-inch display as you do on the standard Edge, but that Snapdragon 765 chipset has been boosted to a Snapdragon 865, while you also get 12 full gigs of faster and more energy efficient DDR5 memory. The 5G connectivity now supports both millimeter wave and that sub 6 GHz frequency, and you also get Wi-Fi 6 connectivity on there too. There's also now a bigger 5000 mAh battery here on the Motorola Edge Plus to help power all that extra snazzy tech, and you get the usual 18-watt fast charging with wired connection, but you've also got 15-watt fast charging via a wireless connection as well. So if you've got a Qi standard pad, you can charge up via that, and apparently you can even do a bit of reverse wireless charging on it too. As for the Motorola Edge Plus's triple lens rear camera, it's the same telephoto and ultra wide angle lens, but you now get an upgraded 108 megapixel primary sensor instead. So as you can see, quite a few little upgrades here and there between the Edge and the Edge Plus. So if you're after a super premium version of Motorola's new flagship smartphone, you might have to get your imports on the go. Now I'm definitely looking forward to testing out the Motorola Edge in full. It definitely seems like a strong rival to the likes of the Nokia 8.3 5G, the Realme X50 Pro and other affordable sort of £500 to £600 5G smartphones that will be hitting the UK in early to mid 2020. But what do you think? Are you tempted by either of these blowers? Definitely be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do poke subscribe, ding that notifications bell. Bloody yeah, it's been a long day, my mouth is a bit dry, and have yourselves a lovely week, people. Cheers, love you.